In fact, maybe we'll go over that right at the beginning of this training and just show you guys what that is. That's not the training today, but that is a good thing to just bring to the surface. The training today actually is a good one to inject something else. There's this one can move pretty quick, but I'll pull it up right now and I'll send it. I'll share my screen with it too. Let's see. Max looks like a young Don King, man.
That's a new one. That's a new one. I've heard.
I was just saying, it's getting tall. It's good.
What it
It's
is.
getting tall. I like it. Look at that.
He's a little jealous. He can't grow it the same way.
Oh man.
Oh, you got me. You got me.
Everybody's a little jealous.
He said he's coming for my hair.
I'm the most jealous. My hair's not even there anymore. Don King. I met him and he's so weird.
Oh, I bet.
I shouldn't be saying that. This is being recorded. Who knows where you got people.
Only in America.
We went to dinner. I have some relationships in the boxing world. We went to dinner and he was there. And I kid you not, you know those little flags?
Yeah.
American flag, he takes them everywhere. It's not just a promotional thing. Like they never are apart from him.
Oh, wow.
He walks into a restaurant and he's waving them. I'm like, oh my goodness. It's like a real life cartoon. All right. Here comes this questionnaire. It's coming up right now. Here it is. All right. So we'll go over this real quick. It's not the actual training today, but I do want to go over it so I can, just so you can see that it really highlights the simple nature of what we're doing. Like it gets complicated with all the tech and how the financing works and all that stuff, but in the end, it's very simple. It's like your utility company, you have an agreement with them that goes forever. This agreement goes 20, maybe 30 years. The agreement with them costs more. The agreement with this costs less. The agreement with them pollutes the earth. The agreement with us doesn't. Like it's so heavily, it's just so heavy on one side that everything is good that it's the hardest thing is people struggle to believe it. That's the biggest thing that we get. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys and you'll see this questionnaire and you'll see what I'm talking about. But yeah, Joe, this was in the packet from Solar School as one of the papers in there. He wasn't quite sure, he knew from Solar School kind of what to do and he had an idea of how to do it, but he just took this as a reference point. And he said all he did was read it and finished. We'll share this screen right now. Here it comes. All right. You guys see it, right? It's too small for you guys to see, isn't it?
Just a tad bigger. There we go. Oh.
There you go.
Got it? All right. So he just took this to the customers. And this is it. Are you in favor of solar energy is a way to power homes? Does that sound like a good idea or a bad idea? Pretty simple question, right? How many people do you think say no to that?
Low percentage.
Yeah, why would you be against it?
Because it might hurt your industry. That's about it.
Yeah, if you work at the, if you're mining coal, you might be like, I'm against it. But that's about it. There's not really much of a downside, just saying, how is it as far as an idea? On a scale from 1 to 10, how familiar are you with how solar works? I don't know. Gets sunlight, turns it into power. That's like a 1. Have you ever seriously considered solar for your home? That's a yes or no. If yes, what was the reason you didn't do it at that time?
That probably would be for a market more like California, huh?
Well, I mean, Larry could have gotten this question 4 years ago,
Yeah, that's true.
and he would have just said, well, it's inefficient and it's expensive. It was, right? That's out there. On a scale from 1 to 10, how happy are you with your current utility? That one's a killer. How happy are you with your current utility? Are they doing some special stuff for you that you're aware of? Not, you're like, I don't know. My lights are on, so I guess I'm happy with them. I don't know. Are you familiar with the programs available for green energy? Yes or no? Are you familiar with the federal tax credits specifically for solar? On a scale from 1 to 10, how well do you understand your current electricity charges? How many of those are 10s, do you think?
0.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows that stuff. Are you familiar with the scheduled rate increase? Every utility has a rate increase on a schedule. They actually have to approve it and have a hearing every time they do it. Most people don't know this.
And in our market, they hint in the newspaper that certain things like COVID is starting to strain the system. So they'll put articles in the paper on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like setting our market up for this.
The utilities are tricky. They're very tricky. And let me tell you why. They will take something in California. This is just an example. We are having currently, it'll go live for everyone in October, an increase. That's the biggest increase we've ever seen. It's a 30% jump.
All right, you there?
Yeah. Oh, are we missing someone?
Not well. I'm in Chicago right now. I had my son has a basketball tournament, so I had to bring him up here and check him in this morning. So it's just me today.
You're good. We're here. I was going over this questionnaire real quick. You would probably be a very good person to reference for this.
Okay.
But what I was explaining is that the utility, they're very good at publicizing what they're doing. Here in California, we're about to experience the biggest increase we've ever experienced, but every literature piece or ad you see about it starts with, here's how you save money on the new up and coming rate plans. It makes it sound like they're going to save money, but what they're really truly saying is, you're going to want to find ways to save money. This is nuts. Here's how. That's really what that is, okay? Joe, I was telling them what you were talking about, how you went to the appointment and you just read this and it worked.
Yeah.
So let's see, where are we at? We are on, we were on the scheduled rate increase. If you could choose between clean power and dirty power, which would you choose? This really brings us to a level where they're seeing how obvious this is. if you could choose between clean power and dirty power, which would you choose? Nobody says, I'm going to pick the pollutant. Like, nobody. If clean power costs you the same or less than dirty power, would that be a topic of interest? Of course. Well, when I first showed up, you said not interested. How the tables have turned. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, would that be a topic of interest for you? Understand that that's written that way on purpose. The word interest is there very on purpose, okay? Are you familiar with how solar improves the value of your property? If Wally was on here, he would give us 20 minutes on that right there. That's like, that's his world. He's part of like the setting up for voting and stuff, Larry, by the way. That's why we're missing him, just so you know.
What's he doing?
He's part of, he helps in his community when they're for ballads and voting.
I got you.
Yeah, so I don't know exactly what it is that he's doing, but he's part of that. For me, you know, that's a thing that he does, he's part of, that's cool. To me, it sounds like jury duty. I don't want to do that, you know, but it's fun for him. I shouldn't say that.
Oh, labor intensive? I'm pretty sure I'm busy that day.
What is your estimated average cost of your utility bill each month? This gives you an idea of the type of people you're talking to right here. Some people are dead on. Some people are dead on. Now remember that I'm talking about some people are dead on and some people are off on this, because that's actually going to go into our actual training today. We're dealing with different kinds of people. This pulls it out of them. If they're dead on, that's a big clue that you should be watching for. Okay. If solar could be done without any upfront investment, would this be of interest to you? Once again, that's just a really on-purpose question. That of interest is you want them to agree with that. That one kills a lot of things. If I could educate you fully on how solar works, and if it truly makes financial and environmental sense, would anything stop you from going solar? This is right out of the book of Joe. Right? Joe Draper knows this training from somewhere else. Is there anything that would stop you if that's really how it worked, right? And here's the key, you guys. Oh, and if so, what would it be? The key to these questions is after you ask the question, let there be silence. If they need a minute, let there be silence. And if you need to write that down, write it down. Okay? Especially when we're newer at this, we'll ask a question, and if it goes quiet for a second, we just have this innate thing in us that doesn't like the silence, so we just start talking. Just let it be quiet. Let it bake for a minute, and let them answer. Okay? Don't be scared of the silence. Like, just let them think about it if they need to. What would you like to see if you qualify for our solar program, including tax credits? Or would you like to see if you qualify for our solar program? That's a closing question. That's just a straight up closing question. Would you like to see if you qualify and get the tax credits? Sure. Okay. Here's the application, right? If they say yes to that, that's done. You're done. Okay. What would be your main reason for using clean energy? Saving money or doing your part environmentally? These are the best kind of questions because they're choosing good or good, right? It's funny because a lot of people will say it's for the environment, but you can clearly see that it's about the money. That's fine. Say what you want. Just say something because I want you to explain to me why you like it. However you say it, right? Contact info notes. That's the whole thing, TC. I'll if you have that packet, that I sent for solar school. It's actually in there.
Yeah.
Do you still have it? The
Yeah, I
folder?
got it.
Yeah, it's in there. So if you need, I can resend it, but
No, I got it.
it's a PDF. This PDF is in there, okay?
So I have a Zoom presentation today, actually in about an hour and a half. And I've already done their address stuff. They know how we're getting on the Zoom. Would you say that this is beneficial to ask this at the beginning of me presenting that stuff?
What?
Go ahead,
what-
Joe.
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
Okay. So what I did is I warmed up with the homeowner a little bit. You know, how's your day going? Blah blah blah. And then I tell them, listen, you guys, I just have a really quick little questionnaire to go through while your information is loading, right? So I just tell them I put your information into the system, and now it's loading in there, and that's going to take a couple of minutes. But while that's loading, I'd like to ask you a few questions. Would that be okay? And they're usually like, yeah, sure, that's no problem. When I went through my questionnaire or this questionnaire in the home, I've never done it through Zoom, so I don't know how long it's going to take as far as Zoom. But it took me like, I'm going to say like an hour, hour and a half, because I mean, you answer the questions, and then when somebody gives me an answer, like if I say, are you in favor of solar energy as a way to power homes? And they go, yes. And I'll say, oh man, that's awesome. Why do you feel that way? And then they talk about it, and then I agree with them and go, man, that's a really good reason. In fact, that's why most people want to go and do that. And I'll mark yes on there. And then I'll say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how familiar are you with solar, how solar works? And then they'll say, well, they'll either say, I do know how it works, or I don't know how it works. Either way, I'm going to tell them, yeah. So, the sun hits it, goes down, goes to your energy company, and then comes back to for usable energy. And I explain it to them right there anyway, right? So I use this throughout the presentation. And, I kind of do a little bit of layering and closing questions and things. And then when you get done with this, they have no way out. They have no way to say no, because if they do, then they're going back on everything that they just said.
Yeah, it lays it down pretty heavy. They feel, if they say no after that, they feel like they're going back and saying, actually, I do like the dirty energy, now that I think about it. It doesn't go as easy, right? Actually, I do like the pollution one more now that I think about it.
The biggest thing that when I got done with it and everything, they were, well, we want to, they were like, everything looks good. Can you email that to me and blah, 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 and all that. And I'm like, yeah, that's no problem. I said, I'll email it to you. I said, it's a smart way of doing things. And then I said, before I leave, can I ask you a couple of questions? And they go, yeah. I said, obviously I came out here today and you guys had some expectations. And they said, yeah. And I said, so what are some of the things that you were expecting? Why were you looking at solar to save money? I said, what other things? And she's like, well, I needed information. And I was like, all right. And then anything else? And she said environment. And then I was like, okay. I said, so you got environment, you got information, and save money. And they're like, yeah. And I was like, okay, let's talk about the environmental thing. I was like, we went through all of the benefits of solar, and we talked about all the things that it does for the environment. Did that answer your question? And they go, yeah. And I said, were you satisfied with the answer? Was that something that you feel good about if you were to go solar? And they said, yes. And I said, okay. I said, the other thing that you guys wanted was information. You guys feel like I gave you a lot of information? And they're like, yeah. I said, were you able to understand all of it? Because sometimes I kind of speak over people's heads, and they're like, no, you explained everything right. I said, okay. Was that a satisfactory for you as far as the information, or were you looking for anything different? Did I miss anything? And he said, no, you answered everything. And I said, okay. And then the last thing, the big one, was saving you money. Do you feel, after everything that we just went through, that by going solar would save you money? And they said, yes. And I was like, so it's environmentally friendly. I gave you all the information and I'm saving you money. I said, gosh, you guys, is there really anything else to think about? And they were like, no. And then the husband says, Joe, do you mind if you step out for a second while I talk to my wife? And I said, sure, I'll step out. So I went and I shut the door. And as soon as I shut the door, he says, well, what do you think? And she goes, I say we do it. And I stepped outside for a few minutes and came back in. But I kind of, because they're going to tell you they want to think about it.
Yep.
Every time.
That's years of practice at work right there. There's a lot of pre-set up for what Joe did right there. But you know, that's the best way to do it, especially at the end, to try to do something. Now, Joe knows that there was a coin toss there and it landed on the right side there at the end, right? Sometimes that's as good as you get. But all the groundwork that he laid with the questions and how just obvious it is really going to have a lot of weight on the coin flip. When he says, do you mind stepping outside? That's like we'll see, heads or tails, you know? But there's so much foundation laid that just makes it so obvious that it's the odds are as good as stacked up as good as they're going to be, right? So that's good. Thanks, Joe. What I want to get into, and this is the actual training today, is it's the wording on it's kind of weird. It says profiling. Profiling and like area management is what we're going over today. Okay. So profiling just means who are we going to be talking to? Who are we targeting? Who is it that we're showing up to? Because it changes. It changes the way we go to them. It changes the way we approach that piece of the market. So the first thing we want to do is go into there's 4 types of people that we're going to encounter. Okay? There's a driver, and let me know if you guys have heard this before. Let me see. I'm going to try to scoot you guys a little bit closer to this whiteboard. There's a driver. There's an expressive person. You hate it? You hate it when you run out of room at the end and you get like that's an E.
Put a V in there.
Expressive. You've got amiable. And then you've got the analytical. Which, in sales, we have a tendency to find those analytical guys and be like, oh, man, here we go. The Tonys of the world. This guy's going to make this take forever. However, in solar, they're my favorite customers. They're my favorite because it's too easy. It's like, here's the facts, learn them, and if it's good, just do it. The odds are in your favor with an analytical person, okay? Because they can't prove themselves wrong. If what they're looking at is truth, it's going to come out. It's just going to be calculated, yes or no. It's saving me money and benefiting the environment, or it's not. If it's not, it's a no. If it is, it's yes. Right? So the industry has made that portion of the market very much easier for me. TC, you'll see this a lot in commercial. In commercial, it's just numbers. There's no emotion. It's just like, put it in the spreadsheet. Let's see what happens. Oh, wow. Is this really what it is? Yeah. Okay. But here's the 4 kinds of people we're looking at. And we're going to talk residential. So driver, expressive, amiable, analytical. Okay. What we want to do is give ourselves some foresight as to how to find these people. Okay. Because what we're going to do is learn how to start doing this geo-fencing, throwing out flyers, doing little mailers and stuff. And there's some clues that are going to tell you who is where. Okay? So when you're dealing with a driver, let's go through each one of these so we can see. And what you're going to want to do is figure out which type of people you're going to sync up with the most. Okay? Let's start with a driver. If anyone's heard these personality type trainings before, what's a driver? Who knows? Does anyone on here know?
Me.
Larry? Larry, you're a driver, but you're kind of expressive too.
I am. Those are my two.
You're
Yeah, those
a
are my.
driver, but you're not the mean kind.
Yeah, those are my top 2.
So a driver, Larry, you're not going to answer this one. If you come across someone and you can tell they're a driver, first of all, how can you tell? Second of all, how should we act?
He's a go-getter.
What's that, Max?
He's a go-getter, maybe a CEO of his company. He's the one that's always hustling, trying to get the money. He's always the leader of the top person.
Right. All of those are true. Are we going to tell Larry what to do?
Nope.
Heck no. Larry, by his very nature, is actually going to do the opposite of whatever you say.
Our whole company is built off of us doing the opposite. That's our SolarGrid's culture, is to be the opposite of other solar companies.
Right.
So
So I'm using Larry as an example because it's pretty easy to tell. I'm always going to go back to knocking doors just because it's the most distilled way to explain this. Okay. You can figure it out on the phone. You can knock their door, whatever. But if I knock a door and a guy comes out, I can pretty well tell he's a driver pretty quick. There's a few things that give me the idea before I even get to that door. I'm going to start whittling things down. The amiable people and the expressive people. If you're walking up to a house, you don't even know who lives in there yet. What things might exist at an expressive person's house?
They're going to have gnomes in the yard. They're going to have flowers. They're going to have all kinds.
Flamingos and like murals and like they have stuff like right? They do. They just have stuff to show like, hey, look at this. This is fun. I'm going to put this here. That's what they're doing. You can see their house, like what they're like a little bit, right? So they're expressive and you kind of know going up to it. Okay, these guys, they have like this fun side, right? If they're amiable, this one's hard to tell just going up to a house. But and when I say amiable, these are just really easygoing people, just relaxed. They'll pretty much agree with everything you say. They're just like, cool, go with the flow people, right? What might you find coming up to a place like that?
Welcome to our home signs.
What's that?
Welcome to our home signs.
Yeah, that type of stuff, right? The floor mat says like, all friends welcome, or something. Just nice. There's not a whole ton of clues, exterior clues for them though. But I can tell you, as soon as they start talking, they're like, oh, how's it going? How's your day? And you're like, oh, you're really nice. They're just that way by nature. That's the amiable people, okay? Now let's get into the driver. What are we finding at a driver's house most of the time? Driver and analytical are very close to the same if you're coming up to their house?
Pushing to a conclusion.
Steve, manicure.
I didn't hear you, Tony, and then Joe. Tony, go ahead.
Pushing toward an end conclusion or decision.
Wait, what? I didn't get.
Pushing toward a decision and closing the discussion.
Yeah, they're going to be quick. They're going to be quick. If we're looking at where, like, we're coming up to a house, what are some clues we might find that I'm like, I can tell there's a driver here or an analytical guy here?
Dress right, dress in the driveway.
I'm telling you, these are the yards. The yards are nice. The bushes are cut right. A lot of times you can tell by the car, if there's a certain car. There's a certain type of guy out there that's like a hybrid driver. But if I see a big old jacked up truck, like chromed out in someone's driveway, that guy's a driver. He's not necessarily all in driver, but he just is. Okay. So I know those, I can pick those out from a mile away. He's like, those guys just show dominance. So there's all these things you can look at. If the yard's good, things are pretty well in order. There's no, everything looks good. Typically, that's what's there, right? Show up, they come to the door. The driver is basically the guy that's like, hey man, what's up? Like, I'm a busy dude, so you got to tell me what you're doing real quick, and so I can get back to my life, right? So if we want to handle that correctly, and we want a guy, like Larry, who's busy and has a lot to do to even talk to us, if we're like, hey, I do solar, I just want to talk to you about it for a few minutes, Larry's automatic. Well, Larry's in solar, so he's probably going to talk to this guy for a while just to investigate him. But if that's not the case, he's going to be like, oh yeah, I wasn't thinking about that right now, so I'm good. I'll find solar. If I'm looking for it, I'll find it. Right. That's kind of what you get with a driver. Like that's a decision I'm gonna make. You can't come to my house and tell me to do anything.
Yeah,
right?
I will say I've had people knock on my door, and before I even open my door, I'm looking for a reason to not talk to them.
And that's not just a driver thing. That's like everybody.
No, I know, but and especially when I do open the door, you've got 9.3 seconds to get it out of your mouth as to why I'm going to stick here and talk to you for another 10.
Exactly.
It's just my nature. And it's exactly that. I'm a good enough judge to know what's good for me and my family, and I doubt that you're going to tell me out of the blue something that I haven't already looked at.
Exactly. 100%. So how do we handle that personality type? Because a lot of people just can't. They're like, oh wow, that was fast. They just leave. How do we handle it? Let me tell you guys, if you're going to be dealing with people that are drivers, you have to be really passive aggressive. And I mean really passive aggressive. They're in charge. And you have to say things like, hey, I'm actually really sorry to bother you. I know this is your house, but I just wondered if you had a couple seconds. I'll tell you exactly what this is. And if it sounds like something, then great. If not, I'm out of here. And you know what I'm doing. You'll see me in your neighborhood. You know who I am. What's up? Is that fair enough? And that's when Larry looks at it and he's like, okay, go. At least he said, okay, go. Like he didn't say, I don't have time for you yet.
Yeah.
But you're submissive. It's like, okay, I know this is your house. It's funny because even your body language plays into this. You kind of back off a little and you're like, hey, I know this is your house and I didn't want to bother you or anything. But there might be something here, for you to look at. If there's not, send me on my way. Larry's going to be like, okay, fine. Make it quick. Legitimately, I can save people money. I'm not just blowing smoke. With a driver, you got to say this. I'm not just blowing smoke. If I can legitimately save you money, I'll make a report and I'll bring it to you so you can do your research. I'll do it for free. If that sounds fair enough, I'll need 2 minutes to take a picture of a bill and I'm out. And I'll send you the info. Tell me what you think. With a driver, he's going to say yes or no to that and you're done. That's all you get.
That was 56 seconds, by the way. I timed you.
I know, but I was explaining.
No, I know. But that's exactly the point, though. You're covering it quick.
Yeah, I was explaining. It's like, hey, they're
I'd
saying
be like, yeah.
that's all I want. That's all I want. And then I'm putting it in your hands. If you think it's worth your couple minutes to look at it, great. If not, I'll be on my way. That's what you get with a driver. It's important to know who you're talking to, because if you do that with like an amiable person, you'll be like, I'll be on my way. They'll be like, okay, sweet. It was nice to meet you. You could have just stayed there and sold it with them. Okay. So don't count yourself out too fast. It's important to know who's there. So the driver, you're submissive. When I say passive aggressive, it means like you're making it seem like they're the ones in charge of everything, but you know what you're trying to get is just one little thing. And you're aggressive at getting that little thing for 30 seconds. That's it, okay? So we're gonna go from driver straight to analytical because they're the same. The analytical guy is gonna do exactly what the driver does, except he's not as worried about time. There's a good chance when you say that exact thing I just said with Larry, like, hey, there's maybe something here for you. I'll send you the info so you can analyze it. That's an analytical thing, right? So you can analyze it. If they're analytical, they're going to start hitting you with a bunch of questions. And this is good. This is good. Well, I heard this about solar. What kind of panels do you use? All this stuff. Hey, I fully respect that you want to know all that. The most important thing is we make sure this is viable, and I'll send you a full report and you can analyze the heck out of it. I'll answer all your questions. 2 minutes, I'll take a picture of your bill, I'll be out, I'll come back, or I'll email it to you, whichever one works. That's analytical. Analytical and driver are very similar. Now we're gonna switch gears. Their houses are very similar too. Let's go to the expressive. You roll up, there's a VW Bug in the driveway and it's yellow, and it actually has a little flower in the little vase thing in the dashboard, and there's you know, big pinwheel flowers in the garden, and there's all this stuff, right? This is a whole different game now. We're gonna walk up to that door, knock, they're gonna come out, and they're gonna be like, oh, hey, you know, they're gonna be pretty nice. Hey, how's it going? What's up? What do you do for these people? A driver and an analytical person, they want to analyze, they want to know everything, what's going on. A driver wants to be in charge. What does an expressive person want to do?
Have fun.
They want to hang out, man.
Have fun, chill.
Yeah. Let me tell you something, Max, because you said something in a previous training, that that stuck out to me when you were like, you know, I would compliment him on some things. Or no, that was Tyrese, right? That was Tyrese. These are the people that immediately you're like, dude, those pinwheel flowers is super creative. Was that your idea? Sit back, because you're going to be there for about 15 minutes right there. Yeah, I saw those at Walmart. I couldn't believe it. They were only $1. I stuck them in there. Look at that. Yeah, those are sweet. I like the glitter. No, I'm just kidding. Whatever it is. But these people will talk to you. And then after about a few minutes, they're like, so what's up? What are you doing? What are you doing? And you're just like, hey, I can save you money. Here's what it is. Amiable people will never make a decision. Please understand this. You're going to feel like you've got this deal because they're being so nice and you're hanging out. You might spend 2 hours there. And then they'll be like, oh, well, I'll ask my landlord. And you'll be like, what? Your landlord? Okay. Please understand, an amiable person needs to be told what to do. We're not there to command them or take advantage of them or anything like that. They will never go to the next step. They just won't. So amongst your hanging out, you're going to say, look, this is going to save you money. I'm going to make a report. I just need to take a couple pictures, go grab your bill. With an amiable person, they'll be like, okay, cool, sweet. I'll go get it because I'm nice. It's my whole thing. I just can't help it. Right? So they go get their bill. You take some pictures of it. You're like, I'm just going to take some notes here. You put in the notes. Now you've got a proposal being made. But in the meantime, be prepared to just talk, whatever it is. They have something to say. Okay, just talk. It's fine. A few minutes later, you've got the thing made. Hey, check this out. Okay, the AR app, these people go nuts for this. They holy cow, that's awesome. I was looking at couches. It was like that. You know, I was cool, great. Well, guess what? This is going to save you money. It's going to save you this much. Now's a good time to hit the questionnaire. Tell me if you can answer these questions. Bam, 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 bam. An amiable person like this, you can close them right there. Okay? You got to tell them what's next. Okay? They're not going to just make a decision. You're going to say the next step is we do this, we do this, we do this, and you'll actually have this. It's going to be installed in 4 to 8 weeks. Your bill's going to go down. It's going to be great. Look at your email. It's got everything in it. All the paperwork is done. It's all in there. It's amiable people. Please call me because after I leave, you're going to start having all these questions you didn't think of. This is going to happen. You're going to see something online and you're going to think, what is these solar panels going to light my house on fire? Like, what's going to go on? As soon as I leave, you're going to start thinking all this. So please just get a hold of me. I am going to be in your area for a long time. Like, you'll see me walking up and down the roads. I'll probably come ask for a glass of water. That's a big one with amiable people. Let them help you. I might ask you for a glass of water. Okay, cool, great. Why am I so strong on please call me, Joe, with an amiable person?
Because they're going to talk to somebody else and they're going to they'll cancel.
Yeah, easy come, easy go. That is the amiable person game. Easy come, easy go. Like, it's just, they realize, oh, I probably should have asked this and that and that. They don't realize it until you're gone because they're too busy hanging out, right? So that's an amiable person, okay? I'm sorry, that's amiable and expressive. They're the same. Expressive's totally happy. Amiable just wants to be nice. But neither one of them can make a decision. Like, they just don't. You just kind of have to keep showing them the way. Okay? Does this make sense? The reason I'm bringing this up is as we look at the areas that we want to market, you'll notice that birds of a feather flock together in some ways. You'll notice neighborhoods that are just kind of made for drivers and analytical people. You'll notice neighborhoods that just are full of brightly colored houses and stuff. And they have block parties and all this, right? I can drive down a street and know who lives there just from practice. I know, I'm like, wow, I know everyone here. I see that minivan and I see the big wheels, like mom is there with a bunch of kids. I know what's there. I see the huge truck in that one. That guy's happy to go to the party, but he kind of stays out of everyone's business. He just wants them to see his truck. That's that guy, right? Like, you'll get very good at this. And so the idea is, as we start doing this marketing, like we want to start doing geofencing, which is basically selecting just blocks, not miles, or just literally like 10 city blocks. And it's hitting their Facebook and it's hitting their YouTube, your ads, your face on it. Hey, I'm bringing solar to your neighborhood. And then you go flyer those and send out a couple mailers in a 10 block radius. If you do that in 10 blocks, you are everyone that lives there just thinks you are You're the authority. They think this is going on everywhere. They think this is, if it's showing up on their stuff, it's everywhere, right? It just seems like a big deal. So why do we limit it to 10 blocks? Let me tell you why. Could you get more hits with more area and more people? Yes. Now you're going to be having a logistics issue trying to get back and forth to them all. 10 blocks, they'll have plenty of traction, and you're never longer than 3 to 5 minutes away from anything you need to get to. And trust me, when these appointments start piling in, that's a big deal. That's a huge deal. If you're spending an hour between appointments driving, we could have eliminated that. Just shrink the area. You'll still get the leads. Okay. So this is how you manage the area. This goes into our next thing. Know who lives there, so you know what kind of flyer to send. If you send the wrong kind of flyer to the wrong kind of people, they just don't really notice it's there. Does it make sense? If you know there's a bunch of expressive people that live in the neighborhood, which flyer do you send? You send the bright one. Yeah, you send the bright one that says some big exclamation point statement. It's like, do this, save the planet. Right. The expressive people are going to be like, yes, I'm a superhero. I'm calling this number, right? The analytical, the drivers, what are you sending?
How to save money.
Black and white. There is a solar program in your area. I'm doing solar inspections this week. Call this number. It's no charge. Done. Nothing else. Most boringest one, but those get calls off of that. Then you're going to flyer. You might knock. The flyers, some people call them. The ones that call the flyers, that's what they do. The ones that get the mail and check it and read it and call that, that's what they do. Those people typically don't answer the door when you knock on it. You never talk to them. The ones that you knock on their door, the expressive people, the amiable people, they'll come out a lot. The drivers and the analytical are the ones that don't answer the door a lot. They just are like, they'll look out, solar guy, and then they'll start researching solar. Let's see, stay inside. The drivers a lot of times will come out just because they just want to tell you, like, hey, what's up? They want to know what you're doing there, right? No matter what, I'm giving you guys this training right now to start thinking about an area, a small area, a 10-block area. Think about who lives there and how you want to send something to them. I want you to think about this because this whole sales thing, we're playing the odds. We're playing the odds all the time. Our skills can make up for the odds all day, but the odds are the things that helps us run faster. That's the difference between doing 4 or 5 sales in a month and double that. The thing we're talking about today differentiates 10 deals or 5. You can do it, but if you can do it more efficiently, you can double it, okay? You guys hearing me on that? So the area marketing is a big deal. Know who you're going to. Typically the drivers and the analyticals, they're kind of in usually the nicer areas. They've just kind of, their personality type has earned them kind of that. It's a little harder in HOA areas where I live because it seems like everybody's the same. You have to paint your house a certain color. Like, it's a little harder to tell there. What gives it away? Minivans, car types, stuff like that. The way the yard is set up helps.
Stickers.
Go ahead. Say that again.
Bumper stickers.
Oh, bumper stickers are huge. If you're knocking doors, bumper stickers are.
Tells you everything you
That's
need
the
to know.
window to somebody's soul. I know when I see a bumper sticker, whatever it is, I already know who's there. I'm like, okay, I know before I even walk up. What else do I know? If and now this is not 100%, but if I'm out knocking doors, or if I see a neighborhood and it just seems like a lot of the yards are just not maintained very good, it's just a lot, and you know, maybe a lot of cars. What am I looking at in a neighborhood like that I might not just want to like jump on?
They don't have any money typically.
I
Or
wouldn't
credit.
really say that. I would say one, they're not there. They're either really busy and gone most of the time, or they're there all the
Rental
time.
property.
They're just lazy. It's one of those two. And most likely, when we're talking like upkeep, they rent. I would say 8 out of 10 times I can tell you if it's a rental or a homeowner before I walk up. Like I can see it. Is it 100% accurate? No. I'm just saying if you see neighborhoods that are heavily like this, just know that if you're doing mailers, half of them are going to renters. Make sense? Just know that. So we're just playing the odds. So let's say you select an area, 10 blocks. Whoops. Can't go right down the middle. We'll say 9 blocks just to keep my square straight. Okay. Now, they typically don't always look like this. You know, there's 9 blocks there. So up and down this, there's streets with houses, whatever it is, right? So you'll do 9 blocks, city blocks. This is important because you're going to blast it with marketing, okay? Now, anything that calls into you, awesome. You're in a 10-block radius. Let's say you decide you want to knock all the doors on this block here. Okay, you send out your Facebook ads and your stuff and your mailers and all that. Went to all of these. Let's say you just want to knock right here. You want to see if anyone's getting your stuff. You know, you'll show up. It makes knocking really easy because you're like, hey, did you see this thing? Well, it was taped to your door, so I'm pretty sure you saw it. You know, so you'll do that. Now, what's going to happen? Someone in that block, someone's going to buy. Just so you know, like there's a deal in there. Am I wrong, Joe?
No.
There's a deal in there. There's enough people that lives there that you're going to, just odds alone, there's at least one. Okay? So you get a deal in there. You feel like you've kind of exhausted that square. So you move to this one. You can put this on a timeline, right? You move to the next one. This one might take you 3 or 4 days. Move to the next one. Guess what? There's a deal in there. You gotta find it. Okay? The mailers and all the things you're doing are gonna weed them out. They're gonna pull them out. It's gonna bring the ones you're trying to find to the surface. You go grab them, okay? Then you're gonna go to this one. By the time you get here, and maybe here, what's happening here?
Work has started.
You're starting to
Hopefully.
get installs here.
Yeah.
So now what do? You say, okay, hard stop. Hard stop, we're going back. And you're gonna open your little records and you're gonna see this is the install. You're gonna look around and you gotta keep records because right now is when you look at your sheet or your app and you say, okay, I didn't talk to 6 houses on that street where my install's happening. I'm gonna go talk to them. Not only that, you probably have some maybes that lived in that area that are fence sitters. Now you're going to run back to them too and be like, hey, I remember we talked for a little bit. I've been really busy. That's why you haven't seen me, but just want to let you know. Do that. It's sometimes that's the thing that just pushes them over the edge. And whenever you go back, you find another deal or two. It's like every time, in my experience, that you thought you exhausted that area, an install happens, and you go back, and all of a sudden there's more. It just keeps happening. So you do this, now you're kind of doing appointments here and doing follow-ups. And they're a little bit warmer because you've talked to them once, and now they're seeing installs, and it's like now it's moving. So you're kind of in between here and here, right? Well, guess what's happening once you're making these deals and you're making these deals? What's happening now? What's happening here is my more specific question.
Yeah. Same thing.
Now you're starting to get installs here. Do you guys see why the geography is important? In the beginning, it doesn't feel like much of anything. But I'll tell you this, a month into it, all of a sudden you've got like this hot little market. And it's because of all the movement. It's because of your marketing and you being there and the installs happening. Because now it's repeat. They're happening here. You know, you're working these areas for the new stuff, but as soon as those installs happen, you come right back. You're always going to pick up something in that neighborhood again. Now, you know, you're working this one. These ones are kind of done, and now it's happening here. You guys, I'm telling you, I've done this, and it's funny when you pull up in your map of your city, like Joe's in Chicago, which is an ocean. Chicago's an ocean. Could you imagine doing this in Chicago?
Yeah, it's gonna.
I mean, this is such a drop in the bucket. And I'm saying Chicago because it's a massive city, but even where everyone else is, this could be a small town. And this is still.
In my experience, small towns are gold mines.
Yep.
If you can make, you know, some of the old timers happy, everybody that lives in that town says, well, you did the Johnsons? Oh man, those guys are really nitpickers. You must have something really nice.
Small towns are referral machines. So you got to do it right. If you mess up one thing there, people are going to they'll know.
Okay.
Be on the little Nextdoor app. Watch out for Joe. He's going to try to make you do this. It'll play to your advantage or it won't, right? Typically for us, it does. We know it's coming. Does this make sense, you guys?
It does.
Follow this. Now, you're going to get lead sources. You're going to do all this stuff. Do it. Do it all. All action is good action. Okay? All movement is good movement. But if you can hone this down, I'm telling you, what your job is going to become is as you start bringing people onto your team, what's important is that they start feeling some success. This just kind of makes it easy. It's like, okay, this is where you work. It's a little target. Like, that's it. You go there, make it happen there. Where are you? If that guy needs support, hopefully you're on these 10 blocks over here doing the exact same thing. He's here, you're here. If he needs something, you're right down the road. You're not in the next, you're not an hour away on your own appointment. You're 3 blocks away on your own appointment. You can say, hey, I'm wrapping up an appointment. Let those people know. I'll come over there and I'll help you. Okay? You guys, it just makes everything so much more simple. There's so much noise eliminated. And when you bring on new people, they don't need the noise. They don't need to be driving an hour back and forth to sit down with somebody and they don't know who they're dealing with, right? If they didn't set that appointment, it's just a lead, they're showing up. It's just as effective to just go knock a door is to go to those leads that you don't know where they came from. I'm telling you, it's just as effective. The only difference is you're not wasting time getting from A to B. Does that make sense? See it for the simplicity that it is. It's very, very simple, but not easy. Because our brain messes with us. And it says, that's a lead, we should go. It's an hour and a half away. But if I get it, I'm gonna make some money. You know what's easier? It's easier to get in my car and drive for an hour and a half and listen to music than it is to go knock the door right next to me. That sounds more comfortable. So they'll do that. Just do this thing, dial it in so that's not even you don't even want it to be something for them to do, right? Your job is here, is this area, that's it. Don't think about anything else. Efficiency goes up. Efficiency is our friend. So that is the training for today, okay? When you map out for somebody, and when you have a new person, you might even just make it 4 blocks instead of 10. You might even make it smaller, right? And that's great. So know who you're going to, what message to send, and then just shrink the thing. Go ahead, Joe.
So, you know, the old adage is the hardest thing about knocking a door is getting out of the car, right? How do you motivate a guy to go knock on doors if they've never seen the result of a sale?
You need to take them.
Yeah,
They have to see it. They have to see it.
Yeah, I've done that in the past. You know, I've tried that, bringing somebody on and going door knocking, and I say, okay, hey, you hit this neighborhood, and I'm going to go hit this neighborhood, and then I'll hit that neighborhood, and then I'll go over there and drive by, and I'll drive around looking for him. Next thing I know, he's at the coffee shop, just
Every
hanging
time.
out waiting.
Yep.
High percentage.
Yep. So what I'm saying is, in the beginning, you don't do that. In the beginning, they're in your pocket. If they're just starting and they haven't done this before, any door-to-door stuff, they can't go on their own yet. You just have to say, you're coming with me for the first 2 days, and you're not even going to talk. You're just going to watch. I'm going to explain some things, and then on day 3, you're going to let them do some doors. And you're going to have a notepad, so when they knock and they do something, they should do this on their own, but they won't. So you have to do it. They'll knock, they'll say something. I'm not interested. Door will slam. You write down a note. All right, let's go try it again. Here's why that happened. Now, if you do this little thing I'm going to teach you, it won't happen on the next door. Let's try it. Let them understand, like this, they're going to go through it for a little bit. After a few days of this, you'll start seeing that they're now having conversations, they're more comfortable, and it's time to just show them the money. Like at that point, they're not going to be able to close, but they can make leads for you. So you're like, look, anyone who just gives you a bill and says, yeah, come check it out. And if they knock enough doors, someone will. Okay? So give it to me. We'll come close it. And I am going to pay you really well to do that. Here's how I'm going to pay you. And you just got to show them the money. Like, dude, if you could make $500 every time you did that, how many would you try to do? If you could do 4 a day and I paid you $500 on each one that closed, you'd make $2,000 a day. You can do that, or you can go sit at the coffee shop. This is not for everybody. If it was for everyone, everyone would be doing it and everyone would be making $2,000 a day. They're not. Right? So you're going to lose a bunch of them. If you're going to throw them straight at the doors, that some people, they're not built for it. and that's fine. There's other things they can do. But if you're going to build your program that way, we'll talk about that all day. I ran a whole business teaching companies how to do this before. As a consultation, so I can help you. Hey guys, we're 10 minutes over. I apologize for that. I just really get into Joe's questions because it feels like my past, but and so I sync up a lot of that. Do you guys have any other questions? Tony, Max, TC?
Actually, I'm pretty good.
I have one on. Oh, go ahead, Tony.
Tony said he was pretty good.
Okay, I have one on. I mean, it's a little advanced, but on the depreciation of solar equipment for businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with any of that?
It's treated like an incentive, actually. It's called accelerated depreciation.
Okay.
Right. So it's something that they can do on their taxes when they do their books at the end of the year and they show all their depreciation and that's kind of like a write-off. They can do what's called accelerated depreciation and like take the depreciation of the whole thing and like get a swift incentive on it.
Minus the like 26% type stuff.
It's separate.
Yeah.
It's
So-
separate. Yeah.
What I'm running into is that a lot of local accountants and CPAs have no idea how to use that. Like I just got a text message just now from one of my real estate investors, and he said the credit for the solar electric has to be on your personal residence. And I'm thinking to myself, like,
It does.
so it does have to be on your personal?
Oh, you mean if he owns a house and rents it out to somebody?
Yeah,
No. He can get that.
I know.
So they have to own the home.
Well, of course, they have to own the property.
It doesn't have to be his personal residence.
Right. But
Let me tell you why I know that. Because the way
Okay.
PPAs work, which you don't have in your market, but the way they work is those people don't actually own them. They live in the house on a service agreement. But guess
Right.
what? The company funding it, they take that tax credit every time. They do it 100 times a day.
I'm typing this as you're talking, so go ahead.
Yeah, they do it 100 times a day. Like he as the homeowner and as the owner of that system, that's his tax credit.
Well, I'm not talking about the 26%.
Oh, you're talking about the depreciation write-off?
Yes.
Wouldn't he, if he bought it under a corporation or under his business, wouldn't that be the same as like writing off like
A
if I bought?
vehicle. Like
Yeah.
a vehicle. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. That's what I'm saying. Like,
TC on that one on a residential. I don't know, man. I've seen people get a depreciation write-off, but only with very specific programs on residential. That like writes it into and it's usually like attached to the county. I know when we do traditional lending, that the tax credit is 100% in play, but the tax write-off is, I think it's a regional thing. I don't think that. Yeah, I think it's regional. I don't think it's federal.
the section 179 depreciation.
So I know on commercial, they can claim it like crazy.
Like a commercial building, but what if somebody owns rental properties that are commercial? Like
You know what, man? I'm gonna have to dig on that one. In California, the only way they can actually get depreciation write-offs on their house is to do a certain kind of funding that goes through the county. It's the only way. Other than that, it just doesn't apply to residential at all.
TC, do you know any accountants there that you can?
I was just on a call with one that Here's what I know from working with Solar Equity Group. I know a lot of accountants do not know when it comes to solar. They just
It hasn't come across their desk yet in your mind.
yeah, it's like that's what I know just from dealing with accountants across the nation, right? But what I do know here is that they're green when it comes to solar, because I had one lady tell my client yesterday that just installed solar on his LLC, just installed solar for, like, he has his own property management company too for his own properties, right?
Mhm.
So we installed solar on his property management building, and his accountant was saying, no, you can't use both the 26% and the accelerated depreciation. And I'm like,
No, yeah, you can. They're separate things. It's not an either or. It's really not.
It's not an either or, but this is the type of information that these people are paid to know, and they're misinforming X amount of people. So I don't want to,
If
you know,
they're thinking of it, I mean, if they're thinking of it like, I don't know, like if they bought, let's say he buys an electric vehicle. He goes and buys a Tesla.
okay.
Okay. There's some benefits there, a little bit of tax stuff, but there's rebates. There's all these rebates attached to them. And there is a write-off there, right? There's a depreciation write-off on a vehicle or a big truck or something like that, right?
Okay.
So I would say that, I don't know, man. I think it's going to be what I'm saying is the accountants are probably only used to dealing with like those things.
Right.
Solar has like some extra rules that's like very supported federally. So
Just like a homeowners association can't tell you no,
yeah, they can't. It's illegal.
but I'm pretty sure that a few of them will try here. You know?
100% they will. Just so you know, they don't know it's illegal yet where you live.
Right.
They have no idea. And you can't tell them that either because they just get mad. Go ahead.
It's illegal for a homeowner association to deny solar?
Yes, anything renewable.
That's huge.
You don't want to throw it in their face. And actually, TC, did you read that or did you just hear me say that?
I can't remember.
Because if I just said it, I know that's the case here, 100%.
Right.
So let me dig and I want to see if that's a local thing or not. Because the last thing I want is you guys showing up all proud, like, this is illegal to say no. And they're like, oh, really? And next thing you know, you're getting booted, you know? That's what I don't want. So let me see if that's where those laws are. If that's like federal law or if that's state law. Because in California, we're in California, man. It's crazy here. We got all kinds of laws. That one happens to go in our favor.
It said, so I just looked this up real quick from 2019. It says solar access laws make sure HOAs cannot prohibit members from installing solar. However, as the above news story suggests, they may allow the HOA to place restrictions such as not having panels visible from the street or requiring prior approval for the design of the array.
Yep, that's exactly right. Is that federal? Or is that?
Let me see.
That's exactly what it is where I am. They can weigh in on the design. That's what they're allowed to do.
So probably when you go to them and say, hey, how did you guys want this designed? Oh, we don't do that here. Actually, you
no,
do.
yeah, here's what you're going to do, because you're ahead of your market, dude. They don't know. But there will be some HOAs, for example, like when I get like an A-lister in like LA and it's, you know, one of these places where it's just, you know, the super, super big and expensive houses. That's where you run into this stuff, because they have a code that's you can't, you know, the house has to be a certain color. You can't park your car on the road. like all this stuff, right? So they usually have a thing where they're like, yes, it's okay to do solar, but it has to be on the back of the house. Like we don't want other people to see it, right? Or, well, and you have to get all the signatures from the neighbors saying we're going to have construction this day, you'll see our trucks, and they have to say, okay, we know about it. Sometimes they allow, sometimes and every HOA has their own rules, it's like their own little city. But sometimes they'll allow you, if you collect enough signatures on that street, then you can put them however you want. Like sometimes it's that. So you'll see it all. For the most part, they're going to be like, man, for the most part, they just want you to check with them. They just want to be involved. That's mostly what it is.
Power, yeah.
They just want to make sure that you're being compliant with what they're doing. And if you do that, it's a strength because now you're probably the only solar guy they've ever met. And now you can say, hey, you should really put this in your newsletter or something.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Get on their good side for sure.
Yeah.
We have one right now in one of those that one of my guys, he's doing one, and the lady that lives there, I don't know her name, but she's some famous like soap opera actress, and she's on the HOA board. So, yeah, we'll see how that one goes, but you'll find these, like they're out there.
Okay.
Yeah, the HOA thing, if that's federal, that's exactly what it is here. So I would assume it's the same way, but it's just one of those things I'm going to warn you, like, don't go in like the puff chest. Like, you can't say no. It's just, you're going to kill that area, not because of law, but because they're going to just spread the negative real quick.
Right.
They control the communication there. They've got next door apps and all that stuff for the HOAs all have like Facebook pages and stuff. So make friends with them for sure. So I'll figure out the write-off thing, TC. In California, it has to be a very specific funding to even get it for residential. For commercial, it's readily available. For residential, it's different.
Okay, and then another thing before I jet out of here and prepare for my presentation quick.
And just so you know, anyone on here, if you want to jump off, we're done with the training. But if you want to hear, this stuff, stay on. That's fine.
I have a quick question. Last night when we wrote up the deal on there, it was, click, click, click. There was no credit app.
Okay. So you do have to do it. So here's your homework, Joe. Go into the app, select do you know which loan you did?
Sure.
Easy Solar Loan, probably.
Oh yeah, Easy Solar Loan.
Okay,
Yeah.
Go into the help area.
Okay. Hold on a second. Let's go.
Go into the help, find the financing. Then you'll find that loan in specific, and there's going to be a little video, 5 to 10 minutes. And it's going to teach you the process, which you didn't know yet. So you're going to probably have to go back and do a couple phone calls.
I set them up that I'm coming back anyway next week.
Well, you want to anyways.
So go into the help center, and then what?
So you're going to see listed all the different things.
Yeah.
I think if you just search, go to the search bar at the top.
It says financing getting paid.
Yeah, just hit financing and then scroll until you see the one that you used.
Okay.
And it's just a video that takes you through the process.
Okay. Because when I did the paperwork, I was like scrolling through it, going, "There's no credit app," and then I was like, "Well, maybe they just email it to them." And
they email it to them, or they do it over the phone. They'll do them live over the phone or email them. But I'll tell you this: the app is being built too, and so soon the credit app will be there, right? Like when When you pull up the agreement and all that, it'll all be kind of part of it. But what you're going to have to do is get the credit app sent. It'll just go to their email. They'll fill it out. And then you're going to do a phone call. And on the phone call, you're going to, you'll talk to that funder, right? They'll have a person to call and talk to them and say, hey, we just want to go over this with you. Here's what you do. And with that one in particular, there's a little bit of phone work because they're technically a credit union. So they kind of have to like open them an account and then do the money, right? So that's, just let them know, like we have to open an account with the people doing the funding. It's not like a real account. It's just an account that you have there so that they can give you money to do this, right? But don't let me go down that road. Just watch the video. It'll tell you exactly what to do. Okay.
Okay.
And then Joe, while you're at it, find the example pictures of the site pictures, the meter, all that, the roof. And I would say when you go back, just say, hey, I'm here for 2 reasons. I need to take a bunch of pictures. And then in order for these funds to come through that we talked about, we need to make a couple phone calls. They're gonna go over it with you. It's gonna be like being at a bank. So just kind of be ready for that kind of a conversation, and they'll be like, okay, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Set them up that way. But yeah, watch that video. It'll dial it in for you. And then you just take the pictures. Even if they will send somebody out and do the pictures and everything, I always do them anyways. I do them every time.
So once I have those pictures, who do I send that to?
If you go to what's it called? The chat bar, just chat and just say, hey, this is my deal. Here's the name. I have all the pictures. Do you want them here or do you have an email? And they'll just tell you here, bing, and you just send it. Okay. The thing about the app is the reason it works, the reason we're setting up a licensing with it is because it's very live. Like you'll notice it's very live. Like you can just hit that chat bar and like ask anything, and within a matter of seconds or minutes, you've got that info in that moment. And that's what we want. It's better than saying, hey, I'll come back later and I'll go get the answers and I'll come back. They'll just they're very responsive. So all of these questions, just get used to that little chat bar. Just like, hey, how do I do this? How do I do this? You'll get the answer right away.
Okay. All right.
Make sense? All right, guys. That's all I got. I'm going to let everyone go. Tony, are you going to hang on for just a minute?
Yes, I am.
Sorry? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Good. Good luck. Good luck on the basketball tournament, Joe.
One last question. You still there?
Who's got the question? Is that UTC?
Yep. So on this commercial one that I have, where are we getting the financing terms at? And are we going to present that on the, like, because it's a paper, it's like a PDF is what I'm going to be showing them. So where do I get the financing terms?
We have several. A lot of times on commercial, we kind of find the cash number. Like here's the cash number, and then we'll plug in a few different financing options, see what's just going to pencil the best, and we just send it with it.
Once they agree to a number?
Not once they agree to a number. We want to see it. So when you get a proposal, you'll just ask for a cash proposal, so you know the number. And
I have the numbers, but what I'm saying is so that I can have this ready for them tomorrow.
So you know what the cash number is?
Cash number? Well, I'm going to tell Travis to move it up to 52 cents. And the reason why is because I looked on our numbers and we're like, the 52 cents, the average in our area is about 250 for that size of system. 250 a watt.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. So just competitive pricing.
Yeah, just compare.
Yeah. So if you know the cash price, then
It's gonna be like 90. Let's just say it's 95,000.
okay, 95,000, great. Now all we need to do is say, does that business owner want to lean straight to ownership, or do they want to do like a lease? The reason, TC, maybe I'll take this one offline, because in business, if they don't want to mess with their taxes and their tax liabilities and stuff, and they kind of want to keep it separate, they do a lease. And when they do a lease, they get some of that benefit just in the price. And then they typically, after 5 years or 10 years or whatever the term is, they do their last payment's like $1, and that basically is a buyout. They buy out the whole thing in that moment, but they at least net some of the tax benefits, and it just doesn't just go to the drop of the bucket. You know what I mean? So, and if they just want to own it and they want to use the tax benefits to their advantage, then you do a straight loan.
I think that's where they would want to go with it.
Okay. I talked to Justin about it yesterday. He funded, they funded a few of them here in like January, just straight up from his own funders. So I talked to him about it yesterday concerning yours, because I knew this was up and coming. And he said he's checking with the investors today, because a lot of them are kind of like on their heels, just waiting for COVID stuff. So he says, if there's available funds, we'll just have them ready. And then TC, if that's not the case, I have a bunch. I'll measure a few of them and we'll send you the best, right? Travis has them. Travis has banks. But we'll just plug you into whichever one pencils.
Okay. But what I'm saying is do I need that stuff done before I present it?
I would.
Yeah, because I don't want to, I don't know if it typically takes a week to get this together. I just want to make sure that that way I can present it. Now we're probably looking at.
But here's the thing with commercial. Everything we're telling them, you have to make sure they know. You're like, this is preliminary, because I can give you generic, I can give you like a generic financing term. But until they actually go through the underwriting, like, we don't know what it's going to be. You see what I mean? Like, that financing company, and if it's $100,000 or whatever it is, they're going to be like, okay, here's what you're applying for. They're going to ask them, just so you know the process, commercials more, like they're going to ask them for their last year's tax statements. They'll ask them for their last year's utility bills. They'll ask them for a profit and loss statement, like all that. And then they'll underwrite.
And some people may want to just go to their own banks or their own funding.
Yeah, that's common. That's common in commercial. If they have a place where they pull capital like pretty regularly, they'll probably that's very easy too. So
or even like what Larry did with Nebraska, whatever it was. That seems like that would fit well for this.
I'll ask him what that was. I don't know.
It was 10 years at 3%.
Oh yeah, we can find that. We can find that.
Okay.
Yep, we can find that all day. So yeah, I would say go to them, and I would just say, hey, look, this is cash. Typically, you want to finance it to see what it's going to be a monthly and how long, if we can get you done quick and get you on the gravy train, get your ROI there, and just tell them, I can provide the financing. I have several ways to do it. Do you guys have a place where you pull capital regularly that you trust more? Or that's something I kind of ask them. But you do want to kind of have an idea of the numbers. So if you plug one in, 10 years, 3%, what I do is I just put it in a financial calculator.
Yeah, I got one.
Yeah, I just put it in a financial calculator and I show them it's going to be roughly this, but like, look, we still have to put it through underwriting. Okay. And that's, so commercial just has more steps. Like underwriting takes longer in commercial. It's like, you'll send it in, they'll go back and forth a little while on things they need and specific P&Ls and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then once that's settled, usually it takes a week just to analyze, and then they come back and they say, well, based on what we say, we're okay with these terms, you know. So what you want to do is, before that, with the company, you kind of want to say, you know, are you interested in pushing this as long as possible? Are you more interested in going lower? And so you can communicate with the finance company and say, hey, try to make it fit, you know, to this situation. You're kind of you're the in-between voice of it all. So there's just going to be, there's not a hard line on commercial. There's just, you gotta, it moves around a little bit, and then they agree on one thing. But the financing and the company, they're going to go back and forth a little bit, just getting information and syncing up.
And so when they depreciate, even if they're set up on a loan, when they depreciate that amount, they basically just don't pay that in taxes, so they're not taxed on that amount that they have the accelerated depreciation on, correct?
Right. And it is going to depend on how their taxes are set up. I try not to talk too much about taxes. They have an accountant that knows in and out what that is. And they're all different. You want to stay away from the tax conversation, because it's just, if you say one wrong thing and then the accountant comes back and says, hey, you said this, but it's this. Like, okay. I just tell to this day, my answer is taxes are like thumbprints. Everyone's is different. Until we have exactly what this is and give it to the accountant, that's when we're going to find out what you can do. Now, if the accountant's ignorant, you might have to coach him a little and be like, look for this, look for this. Commercially, though, they're typically have it pretty dialed because they're looking for everything they can get.
Right. I just don't think a lot of them is messed with solar. And there's, I mean, some of them, but for the most part, they haven't touched solar around here like that.
I'll tell you one thing they can all agree on right now. And if it's a commercial deal, they're big. And they can all agree on this one thing, depreciation, all that aside. There is a tax credit available. It's 26 cents. Last year, it was 30 cents. What's 4% on a project like that?
4% would be like 4,000.
So this isn't $1 million project. A lot of them are in the millions, right? So this is kind of a smaller commercial. But here's what I'm saying. You're like, okay, all the accountants can agree on this. At the end of the year, the tax credit is dropping again. No matter what.
Okay.
So there's, on a $100,000 job, there's $4,000 in incentive sitting there saying, do this today instead of tomorrow.
Oh, okay, right.
At least 4,000, right? Now, if it's a commercial deal where a lot of them are like $1 million, the 4%'s bigger deal. Okay, they're like, okay.
And then this is my last question, then I really gotta go. Travis, this guy was saying that there is, like in Lincoln, we can only put 25 kilowatts AC, I think it is, on 1 meter
For a residential,
for commercial.
we'd have to check with the utility net metering on that. 25 kilowatts on a meter. So do they have several meters?
No, yeah, they got, what is it called? It's where the 3 go into the 1. What do you call that? I forgot.
Like a splitter?
What's called, I forgot what it's called, but it's supposed to lower their energy to where 3 go into 1, basically.
I don't know what they call it. That's going to be a utility thing there. That's their thing. We have a thing called virtual net metering, or not virtual net metering, virtual metering, which is where they can tie in a bunch of meters to make one big number, and that discounts them on like a volume thing. So it's probably similar to that. They call it virtual metering here.
Yeah, they call it something else here.
But TC, you're meeting with them tomorrow?
I was hoping, but I got to have something in hand. I can't go back there just, it's not like it's
You
not
talked
like,
to Travis. Do you have a proposal?
I do. I sent it over to Justin,
Okay.
but
Well, if you have that, you've got what you need. Like that, you're good.
there's some changes we have to make before we get it over to him. That's what I was trying to figure out.
Let's get it today.
But all right, I got to run. We'll talk soon.
Hit up Justin, hit up Travis, get whatever changes you need on there today so you have that tomorrow.
Perfect.
But just understand the first visits of commercial, they're a little loose because we need some stuff from them and we need to send it to the financing before it tightens up.
Right.
So it's going to be pretty like conceptual your first couple meetings.
Okay.
That's how it is. That's how it is here. Yep.
All right. Appreciate it.
Good luck, man.
Thanks. See ya.
Yeah. All right, Tony,
Sir,
let's go, man.
all right, I'm on an address, okay?
All right, let me pull it up.
Let's see, what is it here? 1006. You got it?
Hang on just a second. I apologize, Tony. I have like 15 more minutes. I did
Okay.
not expect to be.
This won't take long.
All right. All right. What was the address?
It's 1006 Russell Hill Drive, Jonesboro,
All right,
Arkansas.
I found it. Russell Hill Drive, Jonesboro.
Yep. Arkansas.
Okay.
All right, so I've already ran the the configuration and everything, and I've got the panel layout on top of the house.
Real quick, the electricity consumption, did you put that in?
I just took what it gave me.
Okay. Do you have a measurement on it, or do you have a? Oh, you don't. Okay. This is kind of a practice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not trying to make a proposal out of this or anything.
Okay.
What I'm trying to do is figure out how to manipulate the position or add to or subtract from the panel arrays.
The panel what?
Arrays. In other words, add more panels.
Did you say the arrays?
Yes.
Okay. So here's how you do it. You pull up the 3D thing.
Uh-huh.
All right. Find a flat surface. So what you're going to do. All right, Tony, I'm going to attempt to share my screen with you.
Okay.
And we'll see if Zoom dies. If
Okay.
it does, I'll jump right back on.
Okay.
But last time I tried this, it kept killing Zoom. But let me just try. It will help.
We have less users online right now, so that may help.
Yep, that's exactly what I was just thinking. That's exactly what I was just thinking. It's just gonna be the easiest way.
Now you want it in the on the dashboard in a 3D mode, right?
Yeah, that's where you can adjust it.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. Okay.
Okay, I see, yeah.
So you know how to zoom in and all that. It's normal. You just,
Yeah.
you pinch or widen and then you can zoom up in on it.
All right. That I can do.
Okay, so I'm zoomed in all the way. Maybe. Oh, come on.
I'm taking as much as it'll give me.
Yeah, it's lagging. I'm all the way zoomed up and I don't think it's following here. Is it moving at all on your side?
I'm not seeing anything.
There we go. It only takes a minute.
Okay.
So that movement I did a while ago. So
Okay.
hopefully we can make this work. What you do is you just tap the array. When you tap the array, it outlines. So you'll see in a second, a bunch of little white ones pop up. See that on my screen, and you probably have it that way too?
Not on my screen yet, but I see yours.
Okay. You might not be able to because I'm doing it right now.
Okay.
So you just tap it. You just tap that whole array, and this is what happens.
Okay. So it gives you optional areas.
Yeah. So what I would do, okay, I'm going to tap the grass off of the house. And that's going to unselect that array. And you'll see in a second. I already did it, but you'll see it in a second.
Okay.
So unselected. But what I would do is I would come to this side of the house. People are trying to call me. I would come to the other side of the house. And those are the ones I would eliminate just because they're not as efficient.
Okay.
So I just tap the array right in the middle or just wherever, tap the panels. It does this. You'll see, okay. Now I'm going to unselect a few of them because I know that south facing roof is the most efficient roof.
Okay.
So all I have to do is tap the existing panels.
Okay.
So every time I touch one, it goes away. Watch. You'll see one go away on the right side. See that go away?
Yep.
So I'm going to get rid of 3 of them. Then I'm going to go tap the grass, and I'm off.
Okay.
It's gone. Okay, now I'm going to come back over to it. Do you know how to turn the map?
Yeah, you can do that pretty easily.
Yeah, you just zoom out, touch the corner, move it wherever, you spin it. So now I'm going to come back to the front, just because I know that's the most efficient.
Right.
I'm going to tap it, and I can see that there's space for 3 panels over here. 1, 2, 3. So when I took one away on accident.
Okay.
Okay. So to take one on or take one on or off, whenever you have the array selected, you just touch it.
You just what?
You just tap it. So if I want to get rid of one right in the middle of here, I just tap it while it's selected, and you'll see watch, right in the middle, one's going to go away
Okay.
at some point. There it goes. Did you see that?
Yeah.
So now I just touch it again and replace it. Oops. There we go.
Okay.
I accidentally unselected it, but
That's okay. You didn't hit the grass.
yeah, now I'll hit the grass. So we're right at 100% of electricity produced now,
Right.
9.28 kilowatt. At this point, I would hit the back arrow at the top left of the screen, and I would go back to like the financing part of it and stuff.
Okay.
However, there's some more efficiency to be had here just because those side panels, the more we can get on the south roof, the better.
Yes.
We could fit a couple more. However, keep in mind there's going to be offsets, design offsets. Like, we might have to have 3 feet between some of these edges.
Uh-huh.
They're called fire setbacks. So give or take a few panels is where we'll be. And then when they do the real engineering, the actual engineering, they'll correct it by a couple panels, right? But this is kind of how you get it done.
Okay. That's really what I needed.
Can you try it? Here, I'm going to exit out of there. And you'll see it reconfigure just a little bit. Yeah, I'm exited out. Okay. I'm going to have you try it.
Okay, so I'm going into the dashboard. I've got the rotating 3D view. I blew it up as big as I can get it. I don't think I'm in the right view or something.
Are you in the 3D?
Yeah, let's see. Can you see this?
Oh, so that's a proposal. You generated a proposal.
Okay, not yet. Okay, I'll close that out. That's my standard view.
Okay, there you go. So that little down in the right-hand side where it says 3D,
Uh-huh.
push that.
Okay, so it brings up my camera.
Yep. And it says at the bottom, find a flat surface.
Okay.
Does it say that?
Yes.
And when you're at a good spot, there's gonna be like a pin that drops in your screen. It's better from far away. Maybe aim it at your floor, like a 45-degree angle at your floor. And then when that blue pin shows up, you push that button at the bottom.
I'm not getting a flat surface. I think it's,
Don't do the wall. You should be able to just get it on the floor.
yeah, but my floor is not one of the normal floors. It's one of those interlaced rubberized floors. So it's got like attachment points between it, like a jigsaw puzzle.
Okay. That should do it. You're not seeing, have you done it before? Have you been able to make this work before?
I've never done it in that room before, in this room before.
But you've been able to make it work?
No, I haven't done this. That's the reason I'm going through this.
Oh, okay.
Hadn't been able to figure it out. Okay, so I think I've got to go back out and do it again,
Yeah.
which means I got to go out to the garage floor. Okay.
I mean, you should. I've been able to do it like on my desk. It is a little sensitive though. It's kind of like there's like this sweet spot. It's like a 45-degree angle almost, and then a flat surface, a horizontal flat surface.
Yeah.
And you just see a blue pin pop up. And
I see a blue pin with a white square now.
Okay, yeah, you're already in there. Push that. Push the blue pin with the white.
And it doesn't do anything.
Or okay, at the bottom you can push. What does it say at the bottom? There's a button at the bottom of the screen that you push to like set that where it is. Is the pin like there? It's like floating.
Yeah.
Okay, push a button at the bottom of the screen.
There's no button at the bottom. It says 100% of electricity produced, 9.28 kilowatts.
Oh, you can see the house?
No.
Wait,
Oh.
show me.
All I see, and I can't turn this around or it won't pick it up. All I see is the floating blue pin inside the white square.
There should be a button at the bottom that basically says to set it there. Like
I had to raise it up.
yeah.
It says reset hologram location.
Perfect. Push that button.
Nope.
And then you're going to see like all these little balls floating around.
I've got little balls floating around inside, but it just does not like this floor.
Just let the balls float around for a minute, and they're going to come together and make the house. Are they still floating?
Yeah.
I think that's, you know what? I don't think it's a flat thing. It might be internet. Is your internet a little bit slower down there?
No, I have actually really good internet service.
Really good internet right there?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm going to walk out here where there's a flat floor and see if it'll center.
All right. Sounds good. Hey, Tony,
Sure.
I have to jump off. I'm going to get on another call.
That's fine.
Keep playing with it, and I'll call you back, okay?
No, it's okay. You don't have to. I'll go ahead and play with this now that I know where I need to go and what I've got to do. And that'll be just about my exercise for the day on this.
Great. Shoot me a text. Give me a call if you need anything else. If I didn't have another call scheduled, I'd hang with you. But I got to get on it.
I appreciate your time, sir.
Hey, I appreciate yours for sure. So we'll talk here in a bit. Good luck with it. It's a little touchy. You'll get used to it, but we'll get you there. All
Thank you, sir.
right. Take care.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye.